Wow, what a pleasure it is to be here. Thank you all for coming out on such a cold night. It's freezing. Just the other day, I woke up in the morning and my water was out because my pipes had frozen. I neglected to put all the little stuff, accoutrements, to prevent it from freezing. So a couple hours later, I had water, and I got myself set up with those little jackets you put on all the faucets. So I'm good to go. But there's a lot of familiar faces here. Some people I've known here for 25 years. Some people I'm just meeting today, and everywhere in between. So thank you for coming. As Nikki just said, this has been my passion for 30 years. And it's been a dream of mine to be able to do this work. So I feel really blessed to be here and to talk about this with you all. So I want to start by telling you a little bit about myself. Then I'm going to talk about what shamanism is about. We're going to talk about some of the journeys that I do with people. And then we're going to talk about, we're going to save some questions and answers for the end. So if you have questions and answers, there's going to be a little point at the end where we can do that. And then at the end, we're going to do a shamanic journey called a hollow bone exercise. I saved the best part for last. So to start, I was born in Los Angeles and raised in a little town called Hollister, California. It's right next to Salinas, Monterey, Gilroy, and it's right on top of San Andreas Fault. So there was lots of earthquakes. I grew up with earthquakes all the time. And here now there's fires all summer, so I don't know what is better or what's worse, but take your pick. Then I moved over to Santa Barbara to get my education at UCSB. I got a BA in psychology, went on to get a master's degree at Pacifica Graduate Institute, and I did my thesis on altered states of consciousness, and it allowed me to do a deeper dive into shamanism. And even before that, I was reading books by Carlos Castaneda. And I see a couple head nods. Yeah, for those of you that don't know about Carlos Castaneda, he was a UCLA student that got an apprenticeship shaman and learned all the skills and wrote a series of books about it. So these books just opened my mind to what was possible, and I knew at that point that that was something that I wanted to explore and do a deeper dive. But it wasn't until 2021, during the pandemic, where I felt this strong call out of nowhere to go get this training. So 30 years, this seed had been planted and was just simmering in the background, and it was finally ready. So I found a woman named Beata Alfori. I've seen some of her videos on YouTube, and listening to her words, I felt this really strong connection with her. So I knew this was the person that I was going to be training with. So oops, let me go back here. Oh, okay, I'm right here. That's where I did the training in 2021. And doing that training changed my life. And so that's when I opened up my own business, Flores Shamanic Healing. And I want to talk a little bit about what is shamanism. So it is the most ancient form of healing in the world. And the word shaman comes from Siberia. And it means those who know or who see in the dark. And I've never been to Siberia, and I don't have any training in that culture, so I don't call myself a shaman. I call myself a shamanic practitioner. And it involves aligning with the natural world and the knowing that we're all connected to each other, and that everything has its own spirit. So that means all the elements have a spirit. Fire has a spirit, water, the trees, animals, rocks. And not only that, but we have the ability to connect with this spirit. We all do, and it's natural. We're born with it. If you look at little kids, they naturally are connecting with the other world without any training. Nobody told them how to do that, but you see them talking with these other beings, angels, spirit guides, animals, plants, trees. So something happens when we get older where we lose that connection, and we don't do that anymore. For most of us, that was true for me. When I was growing up, that part wasn't supported. And so it wasn't until I became an adult that I had to relearn that connection with spirit. And has anybody had the experience where you're in your home and you just have this knowing that one of your plants needs some more attention, maybe some more water, or that it needs to be in the sun or taken out of the sun because it's frying? So we get these little communications, and they happen all the time. In fact, it's happening every day to all of us, that we're receiving information from family members, from friends, plants, pets. Sometimes my cat says quite a bit of information without saying a word. So, and you guys have that too, and you're probably not even noticing that this is happening, but you're picking up on it and responding to it. So I like to think of shamanism as more about remembering who we really are. And I like that it's not connected with any type of dogma or religion. And so all religions are welcome. Anybody can practice this. It's really about a direct revelation, meaning that shamanic journeys, when you go on a shamanic journey, you'll have a direct experience of the whole journey, so that you'll be able to feel everything that's going on. You'll be able to maybe see with your third eye what's happening, and you'll have a direct experience. So there's not going to be anybody telling you what happened. You'll just know because you had the experience. And we all have different ways of experiencing spirit. So some people will experience a shamanic journey and be very visual. So they'll see everything and have a very explicit visual experience. But not all of us experience spirit that way. Some of us won't see it, but we will know it. We'll just know what's happening. Or sometimes we'll hear messages, we'll hear voices telling us what's happening. Or we'll feel it in our body. So we all have different ways of connecting with spirit, and it's all fair game. We all have our own different gifts. So, and it's also used respectfully and for the good of all life. This is my shamanic teacher, Beata, and she's the one that taught me the core shamanic skills in 2021. And since then, it's been an ongoing training. So it's just not a one and done deal. I recently went to Portugal to spend some time in another training with her just recently. That's where she lives. She lives in Portugal. So it's quite a ways to travel, but it is definitely worth it. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about the shamanic journey and what that entails. So the reason, or shamanic journeys, the whole purpose of doing a shamanic journey, this is our way of, our method of connecting with spirit. So it involves going into an altered state of consciousness using the drum. And the drumming supports people being in an altered state of consciousness. It's being drummed pretty quick, 4 or 5 beats per minute. And that allows your brain to change into an altered state. And I use the rattle. And I don't use any plant medicine for the shamanic journeys. I found that it's not necessary to do a shamanic journey. But there is a lot to be said about plant medicines that I won't go into. That could be a whole other lecture going into that. But they are very powerful medicine. And I know that there's a lot of wisdom and information and healing that can be done from different plant medicines. I mostly use the drum, the rattle, and I have people use the breath. The breath is so powerful to help people relax. You know, one of the things that gets in people's ways is that they're thinking too hard about it. They're in their mind. And so to really do a shamanic journey, you want to leave your mind out of the picture. And so I have people focus on their breath, focus on their body, and not so much on their mind when we're doing the journey. And we use our imagination as a structure for these other beings and spirit to come into our being through our imaginations. So that's sort of the gateway to kick off the journey, is using your imagination. These are some shamanic journeys that are most popular, and I'll go over each one of them in detail, starting with, I always recommend people do the animal spirit guide journey, just because it helps you have an ally that's there for you, potentially for the rest of your life. So it's good to have somebody that you can count on. And then soul retrievals. These here are more focused on healing, and this is particularly focused on healing your body. Cord cutting is more about relationships, and then I can do individualized journeys too for whatever your situation is. But let's start with the animal spirit guide. So the thing is, we don't get to choose them, and a lot of people think they know who their animal spirit guide is, but when they do the journey, it's something totally different. And sometimes there's expectations that people have. People want to have a really strong, powerful animal, and they get, you know, who shows up is maybe a frog or something, a little butterfly. So you never know who it's going to be. You don't get to choose. But we have 9 of them, and there's one main one that we have, and 8 ones that are also there, but they're not primary. And they're there at birth. So we're born with these animal spirit guides. So they're not really guides that are coming into your life now. They've been there the whole time. And they do have other guides that come forward at different periods of your life, because they each bring a very specific gift for you. And it really depends on the type of animal. For example, if yours is a bear, then a bear is really good with protection. And a bear is really good with having insight and self-focus when they're hibernating. Or maybe yours is an eagle. And so if yours is an eagle, you'll be able to have, to tap into the gift of having a higher perspective with things. So it's important to know what your animal is. That way you can tap into this gift a bit easier, and you can connect with them. And I always recommend people, once they find out who it is, to get accoutrements in your life that represent the animal. So it can help you remember who they are, and so that you can bring them into your life more. So maybe jewelry, maybe a t-shirt, maybe a mug, whatever. As long as you got something. Mine's an owl, and so I have lots of owl. His name is Ono, so I have lots of owl stuff at home. And today I'm wearing a wolf. Wolf is one of my spirit guides as well too. So we use the spirit guides to help us, guide us with life, to help us with the rough spots, so that you can have somebody on the other side that has a broader information that you don't have access to. So a shamanic journey is an opportunity to connect with your animal spirit guide and to receive answers to some questions, to receive more support, guidance, and protection. So this is the one I recommend first for folks. Now, a soul retrieval is more about healing. And a soul retrieval is about when we go through life and we experience a traumatic event, there's a fragment of our soul that can get left behind in the trauma. And we often don't even realize that there's a part of us missing. We just adapt and adjust to who we are without that part. And so this soul retrieval is about going back in time and recovering the soul fragment, bringing it back into the here and the now. And people feel various different things from that. Some people feel more energy. And it makes sense, because if a part of you is gone and then is now back, you have more resources, you have more internal resources. And when you can heal from trauma, that trauma is using energy. And you may not know it, but it's happening in the background. Even though you're not thinking about it or it's not in your mind, the trauma is still using your energy. And so when you heal from trauma, that energy gets released back into your being. And you can use that energy for whatever you like. Perhaps you want to do a new hobby or do whatever you want. It's pretty cool to feel more energy. People feel more in their bodies too. And they also feel more whole. They have more internal resources to navigate their life. And so this is a soul retrieval. And when we do this type of journey, I don't know where your soul fragments are. And if I ask you, you might have some idea about what happened just because you know about your traumatic events. But the reality is we let your spirit guide take us to the time in your life that would bring you the most healing for the present. And so that way, neither one of us are deciding. We're letting your spirit guide do the deciding. So it may not be what you think. There was this one woman that had a near-death experience in a drowning accident. And so when she did her soul retrieval, she thought for sure it was going to be that. But it wasn't. It was a time when she was in her childhood. And she was, I think, 5 or 6 years old. And it was something that she never even remembered. But it was a trauma that was deeply impacting her, but she didn't have a memory of it. So it may not be what you think for the soul retrieval. But I highly recommend them. Now, another one that's really powerful for healing is called the ancestral lineage healing. And this is powerful because not all of your problems that you have, that you're facing right now, actually come from you. Some of them have come from your ancestors, generations before you, and it's just been passed down. Usually not verbally, but by actions and by through emotions and energy and patterns. So when you do an ancestral lineage healing, it actually clears your lineage 7 generations into the future and 7 generations into the past, which is amazing. So you would have an opportunity to connect with your ancestors in this journey, and you would be able to meet with them face to face if you're visual, or maybe you'll feel them, and you'll be able to ask them where this started from, and you'll be able to hear from them directly how this came about and hear the story behind how it got started. And the benefit of that is that once you know where this problem started and who started it, it's so much easier to let it go because it's not yours. It never was yours. So really powerful to do this ancestral clearing work. Journey of healing your body. So I included this because all of the emotions that are unfelt and unprocessed, they get stored in your body. they don't disappear just because we don't feel them. And our culture, our whole society is geared toward not feeling emotions. We mostly tend to stuff or ignore our emotions. And they get stored in the body. And then when this is chronic, it creates energy blocks, disease, medical problems. So if you're chronically not feeling emotions, that could lead to medical issues. So this journey would entail connecting with your body. And we would use the wisdom of your body to tell us which part of your body needs the most attention. So we wouldn't be asking our intellect or your intellect, we'd be asking your body. And the body doesn't lie. It tells the truth. It holds the truth. So we would focus on that area, and we would clear the energy blocks and release the emotions. And the way you do that is by feeling them completely. And once you feel an emotion completely and allow it to happen, allow it to be there, then it goes away. So that's how you heal yourself, is by feeling your emotions. It takes a lot of practice though, because it's really hard, and there's so much conditioning that we have to not feel that it definitely takes some practice to learn how to do that. And as you do that more, you start to feel safe in your body, and you can trust your body. And there's one more thing I wanted to say that I missed. Let me back up for a moment. This was in the, okay, here we go. Yeah, I forgot to talk about this, the inner child healing work, because that's pretty important in this. So a soul retrieval oftentimes involves working with your inner child, because that's often where the soul retrieval takes us, to a time in your life when you were just really young. Not always, but usually. And so that would involve, after the journey's done, it would involve the follow-up. The integration part is really important. And so to integrate that, you would have to get more practice with when that inner child comes up, is to give it the nurturing and the, essentially you're going to be reparenting yourself. For example, if you're doing your day and you suddenly feel abandoned because something happened, that could be connected to your inner child being abandoned when you were 5 years old, something happened. And so you would, at that point, give yourself some words of encouragement. You would give yourself some nurturing, reminding yourself that you're not going anywhere, that you love them, and that you're not going to abandon them, that you're always going to be there for your inner child, those kinds of things. When you say those kinds of nurturing, loving words to your inner child, it starts to relax a little bit. And that a fear of abandonment starts to dissipate a little bit as you're feeding it this information. And if you do it consistently, then your inner child starts to feel more whole. And when your inner child starts to feel more whole, then you do, because you are your inner child. So this integration work with the inner child is huge. And it's something that has changed my life. So just wanted to go back and mention that piece. Let's see, where are we at? Okay. So I do offer a few different ways to experience a shamanic journey. I offer private sessions at Holistic Path for Wellness. I do monthly workshops there as well. And I also offer mini sessions at the local fairs. And there's the Holistic Path for Wellness Fair, the Enlightened Living Fair. There used to be the Conscious Living but that one's no longer operating, so it's just these two for now. So the next one is December the 10th, which is a couple weeks away. And then the Enlightened Living Fair. Has anybody heard of this one or been to this one? Nobody? It's in Grants Pass. I think it's one of the best. I've been to many of the local health fairs, and it is great. It's really good. So this is my next workshop, and it's on December the 17th, and it's Journeying to the Upper World, the Shamanic Journey to the Upper World. And what that's about is that in the shamanic cosmology, there's the upper world, the middle world, and the lower world. When we do a journey to find your animal spirit guide, we're journeying to the lower world. When we're doing soul retrievals, we're journeying to the lower world. The upper world, that's where we have our spiritual teachers are there, angels are there, spiritual masters are there. Pretty cool place to be, right? So we're going to take a journey there, and you'll have an opportunity to connect with them and to meet with them and to ask some questions and get support, ask for guidance. So that's coming up. Cost is $30. Let me know if you would like to attend, and I can get you on the list. And I also have some flyers here. If you want to take home some flyers. I also offer home and land blessings. And this is about energetically clearing and blessing your home, business, or land. And this would be a great opportunity if somebody has moved into a new home and you want a fresh start, or if you have a new business that you want a fresh start and setting your intention for what you want your business or your home to be about, or your land. Also removing unwelcome spirit beings in your home or property. That's a request that I don't get very often, but every once in a while, there'll be somebody that has some strange phenomena going on in their home or business or land and needing some help with that. So I can definitely help with that, or other special ceremonies as well. Questions? And I have animals there.
Are they yours?
No, they're not mine. Well, the owl is. I added the owl.
Yeah. There's kind of 9, right? But then there's only 8 there.
I don't have a question, but I will say that I have experienced a spirit animal session with Ernie, and I had a question before I went in because I was curious to know if everybody actually connects with their spirit animal. And he said, so far, yes. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see. Well, it's true. It does happen. And it's a really powerful experience. And so I discovered that my spirit animal is a jaguar named Jakara. And then after that, jaguars started popping up everywhere. And so it's really cool and pretty powerful. And I look forward to learning more about it. But I was definitely a newbie in that. And I was a little bit skeptical. I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Just, be open. And I was. And I did encounter other animals on the journey, but they were just peripheral. So they might be my other guides. I don't know. I haven't journeyed any further into that, but it was really kind of cool.
What were the other ones?
Well, there were some snakes that I wasn't super excited about because I don't love snakes, but I'm sure that they are powerful medicine. And there was a turtle, and I don't know. I journaled about it. I don't know that I remember all of them off the top of my head. I had to journal about it after the experience so that I could capture everything. Yeah. it was very powerful.
Thank you. I have a question for you all. Has anybody, raise your hand if you've done a shamanic journey. Okay, looks like maybe 3/4 of people. Most people have done a journey. Okay. Well, would you be interested in doing a small journey today, right now?
Absolutely.
Great. One quick comment is that I have an email list here. Actually, it's right over here. If you want to stay abreast of events and workshops and discounts, just add your name and email on this. And I also have business cards over here too. And then let me tell you about the hollow bone journey. So the hollow bone is an exercise that opens your minds and heart, and it's designed to clear your insides emotionally so that you're not thinking. And we use fire to do that. Not real fire, but the fire that you're going to use in your imagination. And that fire is really good for clearing and transmuting energy. And it's the same thing as when we use alcohol to clean, scratches, to get all the dirt out. Fire does the same thing with our energy. It clears it. So we're going to use fire. I'm going to ask you to bring this fire into your heart to clear the energy in your heart and into your whole being as part of the hollow bone. So I want you all to try to relax, and I'm going to ask that you get comfortable as much as you can in these chairs. And if you are open to it, close your eyes so that you can do the journey. It's better if you close your eyes. You can't do the journey with your eyes open. And I'm going to start by opening up sacred space by calling in the 4 directions and calling in all of our spirit family to be here with us. And then I'll begin the journey. So I want you to start by taking some really big, deep breaths. And make these breaths come from your belly. Belly breaths, and try to elongate them so that they're really slow. Breathing in, and slow breathing out. Now I want you to imagine that there is a grounding cord that's connected to the base of your spine that goes down into the center of the earth. And this is your grounding cord. Feel yourself grounding deep into the earth, the center of the earth. Now I want you to envision a bubble of light that encompasses your whole being. And this bubble of light is your protection while we do the journey. It's impenetrable so that only beings that vibrate love and light are allowed in the sacred space that we're creating now. calling in the winds and the spirits of the south. Represented by the element of the earth and the serpent, which reminds us to shed what no longer serves us, and new beginnings. Thank you for your presence. I'm calling in the winds and the spirits of the west, the element of water, represented by the jaguar, who has no fear of darkness. We welcome your courage here today with us. Thank you for being here. I'm calling in the winds and the spirits of the north, the place of our ancestors, represented by the hummingbird and the elements of air. We welcome your joy and your light and your wisdom. Thank you for being here. I'm calling in the winds and the spirits of the west, of the east, the place of the rising sun, the elements of fire, represented by the eagle and the condor. We welcome you here now. I'm calling in all of our benevolent ancestors to be present, mine and yours, our family lineage, our bloodline, to be present here now. I'm calling in our spirit guides to be present here with us now, to help support us and guide us. I'm calling in our angels to be present here with us now, to bless us with your gifts and your love. I'm calling in the Divine Mother and the Divine Father, Creator, Great Spirit, God, to be present here with us now. Oh, 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 using your imagination, see us all surrounded, sitting around a fire, in a circle, with the fire in the center. As you see the fire, you can feel the warmth on your face and on your body. Allow this fire to come into your heart space. Breathe this fire into your heart and feel it warm your body. And feel it expand. Feel this heart fire go down into your legs and ground down deep into the earth. Feel this fire going all the way up through your body, up through your head. And as it's moving through your body, allow it to clear everything that no longer serves you. Allow it to transform what's no longer needed. Now I want you to envision a ball of light above your head. Bring this ball of light down into your body. Bring it down to your heart. Feel this divine energy bringing in information, bringing healing, bringing support, bringing guidance for you. And let it expand so that every cell in your body is vibrating with this divine light. Feel every cell in your body vibrating with this divine light. Hey, send this divine light to somebody that you love, that needs support and healing. Hold them in your heart now. And send them this healing, love, and support. And if you have pets that need love and support, you could send them this loving energy as well. Find yourself back in your heart. Allow yourself to feel gratitude and God's grace. And see yourself sitting in a circle with all of us around the fire where we started. Around the campfire, sharing our energy. Give thanks to all the beings that are here supporting us today. As we close the sacred space, we give thanks to the 4 directions. We give thanks to our spirit guides and our ancestors. We give thanks to the spirits of the land. We give thanks to our Divine Mother and Divine Father. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Feel yourself start to come back into your body. Take some deep breaths. Breathe yourself back into your body. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. How was that for folks? Did anybody receive any visits? Or receive messages?
Yeah, I received some messages.
Anything you could share?
I've been focusing on the wrong things, and I'm putting my energy into negative instead of positive. And I'm not even aware that I'm doing it. So.
Wow, what a great message. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Does anybody have any questions before we wrap up for tonight? Oh, Ananda, you first.
I heard you say recently that you use fire in just about every aspect of your life and before you go into ceremony. Can you speak on the significance of using the element of fire when you're calling in spirit? or meditating, or what your insights are? Could you share?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank
yeah.
you.
So I got guided by my spirit guides to only do journeys and doing work when there's fire present. So I always light a candle. And it's so, fire is so important in my life. I need to have fire every day. And I used to have a wood stove, but in my new home, I don't have a wood stove, so I just light candles at the end of the night. And fire brings in spirit. It's a representation of spirit. So that's why I always like to have fire around. But I know some people are really connected to water as well too. I know people that can't go a day without taking a bath. So there's some head nods. Yeah, so whether you're connected to water or fire or digging in the earth, I know that gardeners tend to be more connected to earth. So whatever your element. Great question, thank you.
Thank you.
So, I'm just curious, how long is a typical journey when you do it, maybe a private session or something?
Sure, for a private session, the journey lasts about a half hour.
Oh.
Yeah. I spend about a half hour talking with the person, understanding their situation, and we talk about what would be the best journey for them to have. Then we do the journey, and then we debrief at the end. It's really important to talk about how they're going to integrate this into their life. So got to save room for that too. So private sessions are usually, they usually last about 90 minutes.
So I found myself yawning. So during this, like, is that a clearing? It feels like it's letting stuff go. When but I was sort of bowled over at the yawning so much during your
Interesting,
session.
yeah.
So just wondered if that was.
Everybody has their own way of experiencing that. So maybe your yawning is a way of releasing and letting go.
Opening up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're just feeling a little sleepy.
Well, that's a possibility.
Some people fall asleep during journeys. So hard to say.
Yeah, hard to say.
Any other questions?
Do you ever do journeys laying down, or is it always sitting up?
Actually, I have people lay down.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, that would have been better if we could have had you all lay
Yeah.
down
Okay.
tonight, but
Okay.
not very
Yeah.
practical. Yeah, I have a
Makes sense.
massage table that people lay down on. It's more. You want to be as comfortable as you can
Right.
without falling asleep.
Yeah.
Does different colored fire mean different things?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I saw blue fire.
Whoa.
Does that mean different things?
I'm not sure about that. I've never had an experience of blue fire before. But when you check in with your own intuition, what does it tell you about that? I would spend more time with that, checking in to see what the significance of that. Sounds meaningful.
Yeah.
I've done a few journeys and I've always done them lying down. And this one sitting, I felt my body, like it was moving. It wasn't me doing it, it was my body. It was like the drumming and it was a very body experience for me. It was wonderful, and also like just feeling healing like in my neck area. It was different than what I've experienced before.
So when you're lying down, it's totally different.
Mhm.
What is that like for you when you're lying down?
More still. More still, and I even checked in with myself because it was like ever so subtle movement, and I was like, wow, that's cool. I was like thinking to myself, it was my body was doing it. It wasn't my head or it was a really cool experience.
That's great. I love that. Our body is connecting to the rhythm of the drum.
I was enjoying it.
Glad you liked it.
Me too.
Ray? Did you ever? Oh, you're holding the thing there. Okay. Well, it looks like we are done. Oh,
Yeah, how does your training in psychology and shamanism inform each other?
oh, that's a great question. So, after doing therapy with folks 25 years, and then learning about the shamanic tools, they're using totally different parts of our being. I find that with the shamanic work, we're mostly bypassing the analytical mind. And so we're not getting into a whole lot of stories about what happened, about the past. And plus, another benefit is that when you're doing a shamanic work, you're calling in all of the spiritual help. And you don't get that in a therapy session. So it's a whole nother level and layer of support that you don't have access to when you're doing traditional talk therapy. Another piece that's important to highlight is that you're in an altered state of consciousness. So you're not quite here, you're not quite asleep either, you're in the middle. And being in that place can be really healing, and it helps you release things, it helps you integrate things, it helps you move through things easier. That's why people meditate and do yoga, because they're all involving that altered state of consciousness. So that piece is an important part, being in an altered state. You can access things easier in an altered state because you don't have to move through all the defenses that are engaged when you're doing therapy from your mind. Make sense?
Think so? Is that altered state, is that like the Jungian idea of active imagination?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's the disassociation that happens when there's trauma. Psychologists call it disassociation, when you leave your body during traumatic events. And it's normal. It happens as a natural protective defense mechanism because the trauma is so significant that if you were to stay in your body, it would be too overwhelming. And so that's where the fracturing happens of the soul retrievals. So there's a parallel there as well too. And there's also a parallel in doing the inner child work. A lot of therapists focus on that, and that's a focus too in shamanic work as well. Oh, one more thing. And then there's also working on the shadow, which is a parallel that both do. And so I think of the shadow as parts of ourselves that we're unaware of. And I hate using that word shadow because it makes it sound like it's a bad thing or a scary thing. But really, the shadow could be anything that we are unaware of. And that could be, how powerful we are. It could be our beauty. It could be, really positive things could be hidden in the unknown, and we just haven't brought it into our lives yet. So the shadow is something that is welcomed, and we want to go into the shadow. And it particularly helps in your relationships, your intimate relationships, where we do things to block or get in the way of the loving connection. And it often comes from things that we haven't dealt with and have repressed in the shadow. So it's important to go into the shadow and see what's there with the flashlight.
Is there also a parallel with the family constellation therapy and the ancestral healing that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. The shamanic work that I mostly focus on now, it really taps into this generational issues that have been passed down. And it's so rampant that I believe all of us have some parts that aren't ours. And we just don't even realize it. It's hard to see when you don't realize where it came from. You think it's yours. So you're right on the money. There is a big parallel there.
And is there ever a group thing that you're doing that kind of mirrors the family constellation group work?
Are you talking about like doing shamanic work with groups of people?
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. I do that in the monthly workshops.
I see.
The last one had about a dozen people, and we were doing a journey to find our animal spirit guide, and then sharing at the end of it. Is that what you were asking?
Well, there's more of like a reenactment component to family constellation there, where people are actually embodying ancestors and interacting as if they were those people.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, we didn't do that.
Yeah. I just-
That would be a whole other element, though. That'd be fun to do, too. Good questions.
Thank you.
I had something similar. I had a really trippy experience with an ex-boyfriend where he would like turn into my child, and then I would turn into his sister, and then I would be his mother. And we had this dynamic where we would represent different people throughout our lives. We were both consciously using the relationship as a tool for our own self-realization.
That
was really powerful, and what you said just there reminded me of that.
Yeah.
That to think that there's a possibility that it could be set up in a safe environment to explore some of these different dynamics for the healing aspect. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, great comments. Thank you. Well, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.